Hey guys, I'm here with Nadya Andreeva of the Happy Belly book, the book that I've been so into lately and has really been helping with my digestion problems and just my exploration of getting more in tune with my body. So I wanted to introduce her to you guys. She's a wellness coach. She's here in New York. She's only about 10 blocks from me. We just realized we're neighbors. And she wrote this book for women who are working toward improving their digestion problems and just getting more accustomed to eating the foods that work best for their bodies. She's also into Ayurveda. She's a yogi, and she is an overall student of digestive health and mindful living. So I'll turn it over to Nadya, and she can say hello and introduce her book and tell you guys just overall what the book is about.
Well, hi guys. Thank you, Jordan, for having me. I adore your blog. I found the blog through you mentioning the book, and I've been extremely honored to be a part of your journey. And I'm really happy that some of your readers are enjoying it. As you mentioned, the book is mostly about digestion for women because we tend to have a lot more issues than men do, predominantly because physiologically our bodies are a little bit different and we have a longer digestive tract and we are a lot more prone to stress. So we do have a lot more issues with digestion, but also there's a lot more emotional stuff that goes on for women, from emotional eating to binging to overeating to relying for food for pleasure, and that can lead to a lot of digestive issues as well. So going through my own healing process of being constantly bloated, being chronically constipated, and finally figuring it out using some emotional techniques and Ayurveda, it was just a shame not to share. So that's how Happy Belly came to life.
That's so great. So one of my favorite parts of your book is the exercise where we write our own wellness vision. And that has been incredibly helpful for me. And I think it's the thing that I really needed to take me to the next step from just wanting this and kind of vaguely seeing this very well, healthy, happy belly Jordan in the distance and not really knowing anything about that person, into really connecting with that body and seeing what it feels like to envision yourself in such an empowering way. So I would love for you to describe your wellness vision for my viewers and then describe how you came up with it.
Yeah. So I think there's always, for all of us, there's multiple realities, multiple versions of us. There's a version of us that's tired and bloated. There's a version of us that feels vibrant, light, and always makes healthy choices. For the majority of the time, we're not going to be in either of those extreme cases. We're going to be somewhere in the middle. But it really helps to identify what is that ideal version of you that you want to practice being and that you can use as inspiration. Because usually what happens, if you think of an ideal version of you, you kind of know what she does to feel that way. So when I was thinking of what is that exactly that I want to feel, how do I want to be in my body, it was very clear to me that I want to have space, both I want to feel light, I want to have space in my schedule, in my day, in my diet, I want to feel free and not constricted by anything. And I also knew that I wanted to feel vibrant, light, full of energy. And I knew that Nadya, in that version, she was not overeating, she was not stuffing herself, she was not restricting herself, she was not pushing herself to do 2 hours of boot camp workouts. And using that vision as an inspiration was really helpful for me to start restructuring my day-to-day habits and behaviors. Because every time when I would feel stuck, I would think, okay, well, what would the ideal version of me do? And it was really, really helpful.
Yeah, that is incredibly helpful.
What was your work with your ideal vision?
So when I was reading this book, I was on the plane from an airplane flying from New York to California, and I came across that part, and I kind of thought, I just want to keep reading. I'm going to skip this part. And then I got to the part that advises the reader not to keep on reading and skip the part. So I really sat with it and thought, okay, fine, I should probably follow this the way that I'm supposed to. So I was on my iPad, and I just started making a note in the section where it was written, and ended up typing for probably 20 or 30 minutes. And now I look back on this note, and it's like a full-length novel practically of me envisioning myself feeling light, content, my digestion is flowing, I wait time to spare, I get out of bed and make myself a glass of tea and some warm water with lemon, as you advise, for digestion. And I just kind of sit with that, and instead of obsessing over what I'm going to eat or how much I'm going to eat or if it's going to fuel my workout or whatever day I have planned, I try to just tune in with my body and listen to what my body is hungry for. And as long as it's clean, I eat a vegan diet. I mean, I shouldn't be restricting myself in any way. And then I try to meditate on that and reflect before, during, and after my eating, because it really does take that much concentration for someone with chronic digestive issues and food restriction problems, and just kind of unwinding the way that my mind thinks about food and obsesses about food, or the fears of not eating enough during the day or eating too much. And this empowered Jordan just lets go of all of that, and she feels great, and she goes through her day, she floats through her day and feels fantastic. So that's my wellness vision in a nutshell. It's definitely a work in progress, but it's been helping a lot so far to have the vision.
Yeah, and I really love how you're reframing choices that are fear-based into something that's more based out of love for yourself and appreciation of balance.
Exactly. And then the challenge I'm doing on my blog this month, which is a self-love challenge, which just challenges everyone to stop making those self-hate remarks to themselves and feeling like if they ate something that they didn't want to eat or plan on eating, that they messed up their diet forever, and just beating themselves up about it, and just kind of taking it as, okay, my body doesn't feel well after I eat this, and I'm going to sit with that, and I'm going to listen to my body and thank my body for giving me those signals, which is something that I learned from your book. So just tying self-love into everything from food to exercise to sleep to hydration is just so helpful, rather than just beating ourselves up and being our own worst enemies. Never good.
So true.
Question for you is that in your book you feature several nutritionists and experts in the field of health, and I'm wondering if there was someone who was particularly interesting or inspiring to you in that process.
Well, I think everyone throughout their journey, we have somebody who's helping us, who's inspiring us. So for me, it was both people who are more on the science field, which for me it was Donna James, who was an incredible friend and a biochemical nutritionist. So she was really good at explaining chemical and physiological processes of what's happening. But then there are also teachers who are very helpful in emotional aspect and meditation and kind of spiritual aspect of healing. And there are Claudia Welsh, who is an Ayurvedic teacher and specializes in women's hormones. So particularly cortisol and how stress interacts with our body and digestion as well. So she was just such like, I can't even tell her how much I honor her opinion when it comes to anything connected with Ayurveda. But also my clients were an incredible inspiration because we all go through similar cycles. It's different, but we learn the same lessons just in different ways. So whatever lessons I saw them learning through working with me, it was really helpful to capture it and share with other women, because I feel like in whatever way they learn that lesson, the lessons keep repeating.
Yes, that is so true. It's so helpful to learn from each other, and that's what I've found through the blog too, and sharing my journey with my stomach issues. The people who have then reached out to me and said, I've been through the same thing, or I've been through something similar and I thought I've been alone this whole time, is so incredible to connect with women from around the world who are experiencing similar issues. And I really do believe we can all learn so much from each other and feed
Yeah.
off of each other's positive energy and the techniques that we find, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing your book with everyone, because I think that there are incredible techniques to be learned, and the experts that you've cited and talked to in your book really do break it down in a very understandable way, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
So my next question is, something that I really loved about the book was learning about food combining rules, and how when you eat certain foods together, even if they're two different types of healthy foods, they might not digest properly because they aren't meant to be eaten together. So I was wondering if you could just describe the top few foods that should never be eaten together.
Yeah. So I think one of the main rules that a lot of women feel better when they start following is don't have fruit after meals. We usually think of a healthy dessert as having some fruit after a meal, but in reality, what happens is fruit digests very quickly. It's basically sugars that don't have to stay in the stomach too long. They just go directly into the intestines, where they ferment and absorb. So when we eat fruit on top of a regular meal that, for example, had chicken or fish or tofu or nuts in it, we asking for that fermentation and bloating. So as soon as bacteria starts feeding on that sugar, the byproducts are going to make your stomach bloated. Another thing for a lot of people is they'll eat gluten mixed with dairy, mixed with meat, all together in one meal. Example is a sandwich. Sandwich is the hardest thing to digest. It can be small and like it can fit into your hand, but it's one of the most acidic, one of the most difficult things for your body that you can come up with. And on the other hand, completely opposite would be something like a vegetable soup. Because at the end result, your body has to turn everything that you put in the stomach into a soupy substance. So whether you chew it or whether you blend it, the closer it is to that soupy substance, the easier it is for the stomach. So if you have, for example, a blended green soup or a smoothie that's properly combined, or you have maybe a red lentil soup, and those are really, really easy to digest, very simple combined foods. So another thing that's really important for me to remind to people is don't combine various kinds of proteins in one meal. So if you're having fish, have fish. If you're having chicken, have chicken. If you're having soy, maybe tempeh, have tempeh. But don't have surf and turf and like sausages and steak and all in one meal. Just choose one thing, focus on that, make it the center of your plate, surround it with lots of non-starchy vegetables, and that's going to be already a big step towards better digestion.
Yes, that is all so helpful. And that was huge for me because I was always a really big advocate of fruit for dessert. I thought it was such a healthy choice and such a great way to curb sugar cravings in a healthy way. And I pretty much always reached for half of a banana after dinner with some almond butter or something like that. And since I read about those food combining rules, I haven't noticed a big difference.
And I think what happens is it matters what you do 80% of the time, 20% of the time, your body can can manage it.
Right.
So it's not that you can never ever have dessert. Having a banana with almond butter is going to be better than having tiramisu.
Right.
So it's always you make the choice that's the most beneficial. It doesn't mean that you have to restrict yourself. But in general, as a rule for yourself, you can set that I'll usually wait an hour after a meal to have fruit.
Right. And
And
that is
that's
a,
already going to be helpful.
that is such a healthy way to think about it rather than thinking about it in restrictive, negative terms. Think about it in ways that it's an exciting treat and you can do it every so often. And
Yeah.
that 80%, 20% rule sounds about right because if you're good to your body 80% of the time, or really 100% of the time, but if you're really good about those food combining rules 80% of the time, it makes sense that your body would then be willing to digest easier in that other 20%, which is what so many people worry about because we go out with our friends or we go over to someone's house for dinner and you don't want to be that person who is so restrictive about their diet that they then become difficult to have around. So really saving it for those times too is great.
I think you're 100% right. Saving for those times so you can actually enjoy, but also think of it as you keeping your digestion clean and efficient so it becomes really strong. So the reason is that you following all those rules and keeping some sort of internal hygiene, like not letting waste stay in the body, following food combining rules, is that um, your your digestion becomes so strong that when there is a need to digest something not as healthy, it has that power to digest it. It's not overloaded, it's not tired, and that makes it a lot easier to deal with situations when you need that extra digestive power. Can you see me? It's okay. Can you see me now?
I can hear you, but you're frozen on the screen.
I'm not sure why. It's okay. I can see you well.
Okay, perfect. So my last question, oh, now I can see you. My last question for you is what does a typical day of meals involve for you?
Okay, that's a good question. I'm not expecting anyone to follow the same meal plans because my digestion is very different from everyone else.
Right.
Um, so I'll guide you through today. Um, and so I usually start the day with warm water. Today was with aloe vera juice instead of lime or lemon. So I just put about 2 tablespoons of aloe vera juice in warm water. Um, then after that, I had a cup of fennel and chaga tea, and that was followed by yoga. And then after that, I had green soup made with some mixed greens from farmers market, some roasted cauliflower and zucchini. I put hemp seeds in it. And what else did I have it with? Oh, and then I had some sauteed white beans with kale that was left over from dinner. Um,
That sounds good.
yeah, so I had that for breakfast. Then, probably about 2 hours later, I had an apple. For lunch, I'm going to have salad with baby mixed greens with sauerkraut, raw sauerkraut cabbage, um, and an egg. And that usually I'll either have it with a piece of sprouted spelled bread, or sometimes I'll have either moonbeans noodles or black bean noodles. and it's completely gluten-free, really high protein, really yummy food. And then as a snack, I can have either a coconut yogurt, just like a raw coconut meat blended with probiotics. Um, and for dinner is usually some sauteed vegetables with either a lentil soup or sometimes just plain sauteed vegetables because I try to keep my dinner the lightest meal of the day. Um, I try not to snack too much throughout the day, but if I do, I can snack on hemp seeds, hemp milk, um, maybe some soaked almonds, fruit, almond, like apples or pears, and that kind of keeps me going throughout the day. So,
That sounds fantastic. That all sounds super yummy. So you can eat a delicious diet and a mindful diet at the same time, which is wonderful.
yeah, I mean, everyone is different. So when I'm working by the computer, that keeps me sustained. If I was an athlete, that would probably not be enough.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. So is there anything else that you would like to add?
Well, I think in terms of planning your diet, it's very personal. I mean, I think the main rule would be to keep things simple and slightly on a more basic level. So you don't have more than 5 or 6 ingredients in any particular meal, instead of making it too complicated. So your body has to spend a lot of energy to digest food. Because the less energy you spend to digest food, the more energy you have to enjoy life. And
Yeah.
that that's basically what the food is. The food is a tool to keep you nourished, to keep you energized. You don't want to use the food to make you feel heavy and sluggish.
Right. That is such a wonderful way to look at it. Yes, that's incredibly helpful. And the exciting thing is we're going to be doing a giveaway of Happy Belly on the Blonde Vegan. So if you write below in the comment section telling us what your experience and your journey with digestion and just finding a healthy relationship with food has been, we'll get a Happy Belly book. So get excited about that because we are very excited to share.
Yeah, and I think we can give away 3 books, so we have 3 winners.
Okay, 3 winners, even better. That's so incredible. Well, we can't wait to see everyone's participation. It'll be awesome. And Nadia, thank you so much for doing this interview and for sharing your knowledge about all things digestion and wellness with us. I could not appreciate it more.
Thank you, Jordan. And yeah, guys, I can't wait to see your comments and share the books with you. Thank you.